Alright, so you found the right developers, you're happy with the first version of your application, you have a marketing strategy, your app is monetized. Your next step is to create your App Store page or pages. Okay, so how your app is presented and what your page looks like, how it conveys your application is extremely important, and it's actually one of the most important parts of this whole process. Okay, so you want to be creative and original. Think of ways to display your app's features in a way that no one else does. All right, both Google Play and the App Store give you quite a bit of freedom to kind of design your page how you want. All right, there are some guidelines to follow, but you still can be unique. Just like with your actual application, you don't want to cram in a bunch of unneeded content. Okay, so you want to be very simple and clear. And the reason that this is so important is because this is the one and only path that a user takes to do what you want them to do, which is, of course, download your app. All right, so naming your app is also something that's very important. And the reason for that is your name, your app's name, is what the user is going to see before they see anything else, all right, including your app's page, the description, screenshots. The name is what they're going to see first. All right, so you want something that's going to catch their eye. All right, so for instance, if a user is scrolling through the App Store and they see the title Free Money, then chances are that's going to catch their eye. All right, so I'm not saying you should name your app Free Money, but it's just an example of something that almost anyone would be interested in. All right, so your name should also be intriguing. You want users to see it, and you want them to instantly want to know what they want to know more about it. All right, you will always want to keep your name relevant, and you want users to have an idea of what your app's purpose is before they even enter the page and read the description. Now you also want to keep your app's name short and sweet. All right, so the rule is, I think the App Store has a max of 255 characters, and the Google Play Store has a max of only 30 characters. All right, so you should use nowhere near 255, and I wouldn't even suggest using 30. For me, I think that the ideal length is between 12 and 20 characters. All right, you just don't want some big line of text that someone's going to get confused by, or it can look like spam if there's if it's too long of a title as well. All right, so your app icon. All right, your app icon should be synonymous with the name. Okay, they should go together. They should make sense. People should know what the icon is right away. If you want to be taken seriously, and this is a professional business and a professional app, then you want to hire a designer to make your icon. There is a lot of free resources, clip art, things like that, but you don't want to have something that someone else is going to have, and you also don't want something that's low quality. Now, you should also take into consideration what the icon looks like at a small size. Is it readable? Does it look crammed? You want that because in a lot of places your icon is going to be really small on the App Store and in other places as well. You generally want to stay away from text unless it's like a letter. For instance, Facebook has the F icon. Things like that is all right, but you don't want lines of text because you won't be able to read it anyways. Now, it should be visible against any background or any background color because people have backgrounds on their phones and tablets. They're all different. They're all different colors, different pictures. You want to test it on a wide range of background images and colors. All right, screenshot. Studies have showed that a lot of the time the screenshots will make a user decide if they're going to or if they're not going to install your app. All right, they should be accurate and convincing, and you want to display screenshots that highlight your app's best features and interface screens. All right, so show things that you're proud of. Now, if you can use captions to further explain things, that's great, but you just don't want to cram them in. If they can't fit properly, then it's just better not to even use them. Now, different app stores have different requirements, specific sizes for the screen, so you want to make sure that you stick to those requirements, or they might just not get published. Google Play screens, you're allowed to have a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 8. I'm not really sure on the App Store. Alright, so description. Alright, so your description is your chance to fully explain your application and its features. It's the longest string of text that you're going to be able to have, that you're going to be able to show users. Alright, so it's a good idea to use bullet points. If you use long paragraphs, it tends to, people really don't want to read it. They want to see just a summary of what your app actually does. Alright, you want to lead with your best stuff because, again, people can get lazy, and if they're not really into the first or second sentence, it's likely that they're just going to move on. Now, quotes and reviews. If you have good reviews, then you definitely want to post those, or even just quotes. That will help other users trust your product. And then you also want to mention any other apps or products that you developed, maybe a link to those app pages. All right, and you're allowed a maximum of 4,000 characters on both Apple App Store and Google Play. All right, so you don't want to make it too long, but you want to make it long enough to convey what your app is really about. All right, so ASO, which stands for App Store Optimization. All right, so this is basically SEO for the App Store. All right, and if you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. Okay, so it's basically strategies to try to get to the top spot in the app stores. All right, now the App Store and Google Play work differently, and they have different sets of criteria. Google having a really complicated algorithm for their web search, they kind of implement this into their App Store. All right, Apple App Store is a little bit more simple than that. But for both, your app name, your company name, your keywords, description, this is all stuff that's going to matter. So you really want to come up with some great content, and you want to make sure that you use keywords but don't overuse them. All right, and just like with search engines, your placement is definitely not guaranteed. You could be on top one day and nowhere to be found the next. There's really no rhyme or reason that we really understand. All right, ratings and reviews definitely matter. So if you have positive reviews, you definitely want those. Keywords in the title field. All right, so your title should have some of your main keywords. Again, not overdoing it because then it just looks like spam. All right, so be original. Don't try to mimic another app store page. In anything in mobile app development or any kind of development, you want to have your own brand and your own identity. The app stores definitely frown upon that. They can remove your listing for any reason. So if you're just straight out copying someone, then that's not good for you. Chances are it won't be successful if you're copying someone's, not just their app, but their app page. All right, so each store has their own set of rules. I'm not going to go through all those. You can find those on the store websites. Strict on name and icons. Your icon can't have any kind of explicit or gory images. The app stores have no age filter, so children of all ages can see it. All right, there's no purchase or reserves on app names. Okay, so unlike a website or a domain name, where you can purchase and reserve any available name, you can't do that on the App Store. All right, and once you've actually chosen a name, you have 120 days to upload your source files, or it'll just go back. People will be able to get it. All right, and then lastly, you want to stay in your category. Categories range in terms of competition. For instance, games is a much more competitive category than, let's say, lifestyle. All right, so this is because of the amount of apps in the games category. If you put your app in the wrong category, it may never get published or it may get unpublished. So you want to really stick to your area, not just because it's the rules, but because it's just better for you in general. All right, so that's it. Hopefully you're now ready to start thinking about uploading your app and getting it out there. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about pre-release marketing.